Let me read a couple more. I'm gonna move on. It says, "Leave to where it would help if Egypt welcomed them." Another one that says, "Like he's kept them safe before, all 17,000." Investigate both sides of the argument. Come up with your own conclusions.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
Ahead of
yeah,
them. Another one that says, "This man has zero credibility."
Kid has four generations of family that went to Yale. His aunt, grandpa, grandma, and two of his uncles. Why don't we guess what universities he got into? But first, let's take a look at his college application. So he had a 2.66 GPA. He got a 5 on the AP Calc AB exam though. 1300 SAT and ranked 171 out of 241 students. Comes from a high-income family. His family makes 800 grand a year. His mom is a lawyer and his dad has a PhD in neuroscience. Played JV football for 4 years and he applied to 7 schools: Harvard, Yale, UPenn, MIT, NYU, Drexel, and Stanford. He was rejected from Harvard, UPenn, MIT, NYU, Drexel, and Stanford, but accepted to Yale. You know what I think we should do? I think we should ask this guy how much money his family donated to Yale. Hey, listen, I'm not saying that there's absolutely no shot that this kid gets in with merit, but I am saying that he probably doesn't have any shot of getting in via merit. What I think is really funny is that he mentions that he has a 2.66 GPA, but he got a 5 on the AP Calc exam. So he might be a smart kid, but he just doesn't give a shit. Also, he got rejected from every other university that he applied to. Like Drexel rejected him. For sake. I guess it is what it is. This high school kid has 4 generations.
So D.L. Hewley posted this. He says, "Now please explain to me how you level the playing field against this. Legacy is privileged white people's affirmative action." So I think he has a good point with this.
I would say probably the reason he got in was because amongst the 4 generations of people before him, one of them was either in a society or fraternity that spoke up for him and wrote a letter.
Yeah, but it's really about the legacy. Your parents. It gives you a up. It gives you an advantage, and the amount of money that your parents.
Again, that's the whole idea behind creating generational wealth, is also creating generational connections. It's just everyone under that level of income was never introduced to that until since probably the 90s. Because I don't remember people talking to me about generational income and all that stuff before then, because we were poor people.
And I get that part of the argument, but what I want to focus on here is the comparison between affirmative action, because affirmative action is bad. It's giving these people an advantage over others to get into these institutions, and they're not getting in on their merit. This is the argument, quote unquote. So, but what is the difference between that and the legacy students getting into these schools, just because their parents went to that school, and giving them an up on other students that their parents didn't go to the school?
Again, it's a connections issue. Let's get your affirmative action guy. He goes there. He has no backing. He has no connections other than he was allowed there. He is now in a situation where he is beyond his capabilities. He does not have the ability to compete, to contract, to be at that level of the game, yet has no one to back him or anything like that.
Well,
that's a difference.
Even
I'm not talking about fair. I'm not talking about shit like that. I'm literally talking about people bitching about a system instead of working themselves up and being a part of it.
Well, they do, because even with affirmative action, you still have to have the merits to get into the school. They're not going to put you in there on affirmative action alone. Like you're gonna have to have the prerequisite.
you will be placed there under affirmative action above a student who has better credentials because you hit the diversity quota. They will
That's
be
not
forced to choose you over a better qualified student because of a diversity. That is absolutely true. And
well.
I will stand on the hill. I will fight on it. I will die for it because I lost a full fucking scholarship to someone who blew it in his first semester because I had better numbers and they got it because they were a diversity.
Well, this guy just made an example of this kid right here who got rejected from all of these universities. He had a what he said 2.7 GPA. Where is the merit that this guy had?
I ain't talking about all that. I'm talking about affirmative action.
We're that's what we're talking about.
I'm talking about a person of color got their position because they were a person of color, despite the fact that I had better numbers.
Well, this person
because of affirmative, they got the only scholarship because of affirmative action. I don't care about them. I'm talking. You want to talk about how it affects blah blah blah. This is how it affected me. This unfortunately unravels a whole lot of the fucking narrative because it happened to me. I lost a full ride fucking scholarship, and it pisses me off. And while I understand affirmative action and things like that, I think it's all been done fucking badly. And I think affirmative action should be taken off the table to blind numbers. Nobody knows names or anything. They are just a number that gets applied and accepted instead of a person. But see, that defeats the idea of, okay, your affirmative action student comes from over here in a poor community in LA. Why 98% of our people come from a completely different fucking world. On top of them having lower numbers, like I say, I'm not completely against affirmative action, but I will tell you there are victims of it. I am a victim of affirmative action, and it would have changed my life.
Well, they've already kicked out affirmative action, but I'm comparing it to the legacy students with this situation that this guy is talking about.
And you're doing it just because you want to damn the man. Yeah, I agree. Legacy is stupid fucking too. But who finances the fucking college? If it's a private university, you know, if it's tuition based, if they get state money, it should be just fucking blind numbers.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not.
Yeah, so when it's all about merit,
what you're arguing to me right now is if I go to Hooters, they should fucking hire me or at least consider me. No, you're not going to understand that connection. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't. But the merit of this guy had lower merit and he got in. So I'm sure it was people.
And he had 4 generations of people that went to that school.
That shouldn't give him advantage. I'm sure some other.
Why not? Why not in a traditional university like that? Now, if you want to talk about U of H, I fully agree with you.
What's the difference?
Prestige universities are not public.
Okay.
Bottom line.
Let me read a couple comments and we'll move on. It says, and we have minorities cheer when affirmative action was struck down. The trick of the rich and powerful is to have the working class and poor vote against their own interests. Another one that says, well, maybe don't vote against affirmative action next time. A lot of Asian students were voting against affirmative action, and now they upset because the supremacy is still supremacy. Another one that says, too early on a Saturday for racial division, DL. I'm white and support all Americans of color. Trump 2024. Another one, it says, anyone that goes against affirmative action does not understand how this country actually operates. Another one, it says, how do you stay on a JV squad 4 years? Another one, it says, sound like envy and hate to me. Another comment, it says, they the same folks that went against affirmative action because they believed Black people were receiving some form of benefits above them in college recruitment. Now they see what was popping before AA was passed in the beginning. Don't cry now, Mr. Lee. Another comment, it says, you're 100% correct. He'll leave there knowing all of the right people, get a job with BIFF's father's firm, work in the city, buy a summer place by the sea, and complain that others should pull themselves up by their bootstraps. His life will end when he drinks too much at the club and crashes his Bentley into a tree. Another comment says, so I absolutely get his point. However, we need to stay away from bashing people because their parents work their asses off so their kids can be more successful. Should this be allowed in college? I don't know. To be honest, I don't think college is necessary. Another one, it says, this is white affirmative action. Couple more, I'm gonna move on. It says, this is why college apps should be blind, no gender, race, or name, just a code number. That's what you're saying, and I completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. And leave out the legacy too. Let me read this one. It says, the irony is that it was an Asian man that took his case to the Supreme Court to eliminate DEI enrollment in said universities based on the thought that Black people were unfairly accepted into said universities. And that's exactly what happened. It says pharmaceutical giant Eli Lilly just reported 2.19 billion in profits for the last 3 months of 2023 alone. This massive number comes from hiking the prices